This demo will show you the MTC Flow tool. Here we have two projects. Each MTC Flow project has a structure that we propose to organize the elements of the model transformation chain. First, we have libraries, metamodels, models, the MTC definition, a transformation folder that has a model-to-model transformation folder and a model-to-text transformation folder. Let's start by the simple UML doc generator. To open an MTC, double-click on the MTC file. This MTC presents a simple generator of web documentation. First, we have a UML model that conforms to simple UML, that is an extract of the UML metamodel. We have model-to-model transformations that convert this UML model to a XML model that conforms to simple XML metamodel. And finally, we have a transformation model to text that generates the HTML documentation. The first feature that you can see here is the visual elements that allow the developer to define an MTC without having to specify the technology. So here in the palette, we have model-to-model transformation, model-to-text transformation. Also, we have an MTC special transformation that allows the developer to include another MTC in the workflow. Also, we have text-to-model transformation, for example, to parse DSL. We have 4 artifacts: file, that refers to the files that could be an input for the MTC or that could be an output for the MTC. We have also a metamodel element, a model element, and a generic called reference resource. This generic reference is useful when you have to reference external resource of the transformation. For example, if you need a configuration file that is useful in addition to the transformation definition, these artifacts will help. Also, we have the elements of configuration. In configuration, we have libraries, that is a general concept. For example, for ATL, a library is the string library. We have model environment. This model environment is responsible for the setup process of UML or EMF, or if we have a specific domain language, this model environment will take care of register the metamodels and to handle all the required process. We have also scripts, for example, to manage a process before a transformation begins. We have tag that allows the developer to mark the elements in the diagram. We will show this in an example. Also, we have a validation element that you could associate with any model. To design your MTC, you only have to add elements to the diagram and connect each other to design the flow. In this case, we already have defined the transformation. When you make double-click on any element of the diagram, the project will automatically find the reference file or resource and will open with the editor. For example, if we may double-click on simple UML, it will automatically locate the eCore and it also will search for diagrams of the eCore file. Here we have the metamodel of the simple UML metamodel. This works with any element of the MTC. For example, in the model-to-model transformation, we use ATL to convert from the UML metamodel to XML metamodel. And also in the transformation to text, we use Axeleo. So here we have two different technologies, one to convert model to model and another to convert model to text. To execute the MTC, we only need to make right-click on the MTC diagram file, select MTC, and click on Run MTC. This will automatically show the MTC console. The console presents information about the execution process. Here we have a complete description of the process. Also, if we have some exception during the execution, it will show in the console the information about this. Now we have the university XML file that was generated in the process. And we also have the HTML documents that it generates. This is the first demo project that has a transformation from model to model and model to text. The other project is MDD core samples. It has MTCs that shows how you can execute transformations of any technology. In this case, we're going to see the books to publication example. If we open the MTC diagram file, we have a simple MTC that has a book model conformed to a books model that is converted to a publication using a QVTO transformation. To execute this, you only have to use MTC, run MTC. We have support for many transformation technologies, but in some cases, it's better to develop your own transformation. In this case, we have a custom definition that receives 3 different models and generate an output model. This transformation is created in the source code of the project. This class is responsible to implement the transformation that we define in this diagram. If we execute the MTC, we load the class in the same development environment and we execute the Java code without need to start a new Eclipse instance. We also have integration of the console. For example, this MTC model count receive a meta model and count their classes and print information about it. It is created using the EOL language. So if we execute this MTC, the information that the output create will be integrated into the console. Another demo is the family to person MTC. This MTC allows to show how we can have alternative execution paths for the MTCs. Here we have a family model that conforms to families and a second model, family 2, that conforms to families metamodel. Here you have two transformations, family to person and family to person 2. If we execute the MTC, it will run both transformations. But here we have two options. When we are developing, sometimes we only need to execute one transformation. We could do that by right-click, run from transformation, and it will all the defined transformation in the workflow, and you can select one by one the transformations. If you want to use alternative execution paths, like in this case, we have defined two different tags, version 1 and version 2. If we see the properties of this transformation, it has the version 1 tag, and the other has the version 2 tag. When we start an MTC, using the second option, run MTC with tags, we can specify a list of tags separated by a comma. Let's try with version 1. As you can see, it only executes the first transformation. The execution engine will validate before to start transformation that it has at least one of the tags specified in the start process. Another important feature that the MTC project offers is the registration of metamodels. When the builder detects that you have modified a metamodel, it automatically will register the metamodel into the AMF registry. When you have transformation that required compilation, you don't need another project. MTC Flow is able to compile in the same place. For example, here we have ATL transformation that requires a compiled version. If we modify the transformation file, it will detect the change and compile the transformation. This is a general overview of the features that MTC Flow offers.